we talk to the people and ourselves together with us.
Kevin, he's staying home for good.
I thought about that, but I was saying that when we have
I think I gave you those.
Do it again. Do it again.
We're ready to vote.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. This is fantastic. Wow, it's overwhelming. I had to go around to find a parking spot. Yeah, there's a great turnout tonight to wonder and honor a wonderful person. It's a great family and friends, and it's an honor to be here. My name is Doug Scaff. I'm a delegate in the House of Delegates, and with me tonight we have Delegate Ron Walters, who covers this district, covers this area out here. And we have a couple special guests I'll introduce in a second. And we are going to start tonight's ceremony by having the National Guard lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We have Lieutenant Goodforth, and we have Sergeant Morgan. If you would, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll be honored to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. That'd be great.
Lieutenant Goodforth, with the 150th Eleanor. I'm originally from Inwood, West Virginia. Most people don't really know where that is. It's up in the eastern panhandle, around Martinsburg. Lived in West Virginia my whole life. Real glad that I was able to come out here and support y'all for today's event.
Sergeant Devin Morgan, originally from Greenbrier County, West Virginia. Grew up here my whole life. Spent the last 3 years in Texas, active duty. Did 1 tour in Iraq, and came back and joined the Guard. To be back in West Virginia. So it's an honor to be here today.
I'm Delegate Ron Walters. I've actually represented this area for a little bit over 20 years. Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this. It was a pleasure to be a sponsor on the resolution. And I originally was born in Charlestown, West Virginia, which is a little further east than Inwood, West Virginia. And it sits real close. Actually, our home was on the Shenandoah River, and I've been here since 1975. Again, thank you for allowing me to be here with you this evening to honor this great West Virginia.
Everyone please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Up here for a moment. You don't say anything. Come over. Come over. I'll tell everybody a quick little story. Bill Walton here was my principal and helped me grow up and kept me out of trouble most of the time when he could. And he came to me when I served and he said, Doug, I want to show you something. I want you to read something. And he brought to me an article in the paper. That was a well-written article about our beloved Kenneth Amick, who we are honoring tonight. When I read this story, he asked, what can we do to honor him? There's got to be something we can do. He talked about naming a bridge after him. What does the legislature do when they honor a special West Virginian like this? So we got together as a delegation, Kanawha County, all of us came together, and we went to the Speaker of the House and thought, what can we do to memorialize it? And you can see we wanted to find the closest bridge to where the incident occurred, and we had the bridge, and most of you have been out to, I believe, see the sign. If you haven't, please go up there. I'm sure most of you have seen the sign already, but we're really thrilled that it's already up. I'm excited. But Mr. Bill Walton, I want him to come here, and he brought this story to us. And when I showed the rest of the delegation, I shared it, made a copy of it, and shared it with everybody, all 100 members of the House of Delegates. And we read this resolution. Everyone saw this, and it brought tears to everyone's eyes. What a great person this was, and a great gentleman. And I'm blessed to get to read it and learn the story, and meet the son, and be here with the family tonight. Mr. Walton, would you like to say anything? Nope. He said he didn't want to say anything, but I wanted to recognize him because without him and with his connection here, we would not be here today honoring them in this bridge. So thank you, Mr. Walton. Let's give one more round. Now, he didn't have to say anything, so you got him off the hook. But we're going to have, obviously, Robert Blair and the family, and you're going to do, I want you to do some introductions here in a little bit, and you speak. But I think the best way we can honor tonight is for me to read the resolution. The resolution that we're presenting here tonight kind of sums up a little bit of the article and the story and the history, and I'd like to read that at this time. This is committee substitute for House Concurrent Resolution number 82. It's by Delegates Scaff, Wells, Guthrie, Ford, Armstead, Eric Nelson, Lane, Hunt, Ron Walters, McCusker. It was adopted by this legislature March 5th, 2014. We requested the Division of Highways to name bridge number 20-79-1.95 20A497 on Interstate I-79 in Kanawha County, the U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Kenneth Amick Memorial Bridge. Whereas Staff Sergeant was fired up with patriotism when he joined the United States Army Air Forces during his senior year at Stonewall Jackson High School. And whereas 2 years after enlisting, Sergeant went to England to fight in World War II. And whereas in 1943, Staff Sergeant married Edith Sayre and wrote to his wife the entire time he was overseas, always careful never to reveal his location. And whereas our beloved Staff Sergeant served as a flight engineer and tail gunner with the B-24 Liberators, the 68th Squadron, the 44th Bombardment Group, whose logo was the Flying 8 Balls. And whereas Staff Sergeant returned home safely after the war and joined the National Guard. Whereas his marriage ended in divorce, he and his wife had one son, Mr. Robert Amick. And whereas Staff Sergeant, along with the 18 other National Guardsmen, were killed when their C-47 slammed into a mountain at the Kanawha Airport on April 8, 1951. And whereas ex-wife accidentally met Jean Lacey, whose husband was to be on that fatal National Guard flight, but his schedule changed. And whereas Miss Macy began talking with Jean Lacey, who was from England, about a trip she and her granddaughter, Heather, were going to take to England. And whereas, after talking with Miss Lacey, Miss Massey retrieved Staff Sergeant's letters from England that were in a cedar chest and decided to visit the airfield where he had been stationed. And whereas, during the May 2002 trip to England, Miss Massey had difficulty in finding the airfield that was located somewhere in the Shipton countryside. So she stopped in a tavern and asked for directions. Whereas, while at this tavern, a retired Royal Air Force pilot showed Miss Massey and her granddaughter, Heather, pictures of the 44th Bombardment Group taken from 1942 to 1945 that were still displayed on this tavern's walls. Whereas, when they reached the last of the photographs, Miss Massey could hardly believe her eyes upon seeing Staff Sergeant's picture, and she joyfully exclaimed, "Heather, Heather, there he is!" Whereas this tavern owner gave them the photograph and also informed them about D.D. Dodd who operated a museum dedicated to this 44th Bombardment Group. And whereas, after visiting this museum, Mr. Dodd took them on a grand tour of the airfield and the remaining hangar, and Ms. Massey took photographs of the symbolic Flying 8 Balls logo that was still painted on the control tower at the time. Whereas, the Staff Sergeant's granddaughter, Heather, returned home to Maryland with a substantial amount of information about her grandfather that she shared with her brothers, Cameron and Mark, and her father, Staff Sergeant's son, Robert, who had been only 6 when his father died. And whereas, it is fitting to honor today for his commitment, his dedication, and service to the country and this state, therefore, be it resolved by the State Legislature of West Virginia that this Division of Highways is hereby now requested to be named this number on Interstate 79, Kanawha County, U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Kenneth Amick Memorial Bridge, and be it further resolved that the Division of Highways is requested to have made and be placed signs identifying this bridge both directions. Be it further resolved, the Clerk of the House of Delegates scored a certified copy of the resolution. The Secretary of the Department of Transportation, his son, and Edith I. Gregory Grave, the Clerk of the House, signed this paper on the 5th day of March 2014. Mr. Gregory Grave certifies this bridge and presents it here today to his family. Accepting on behalf of your mother, I'd like to present the formal resolution to you. We have other copies for you to share, as mentioned in here. And we also like to have Delegate Walters and the National Guard to help me hold this up. We have some replica copies. Replica copy that we'd like to present to you today. We have 4, I believe, of them. Recognize them if possible. Right. I'd like you to introduce them.
Okay, that'd be great.
Say a few words.
Most people nowadays use an electronic device to key in to talk. I don't, but there is a use for this. I'd rather use notes. I'm an old school person. I don't need these. These are just for effect. I counted the number of states that people come in from, relatives and friends. I'm going to introduce a few relatives, and then I'm going to mention the states. I'm not going to mention everybody here. First of all, I want to introduce my beautiful wife back there over 45 years, Barbara. Florida. I want to introduce my brothers, Michael and Kenny. Michael came in from Tennessee and Kenny came in from Indiana. I want to introduce my aunt, Gloria Sue. We just call her Aunt Sue. She came in from Florida with her 2 sons and their spouses. I want to mention a friend, Bill Perdue, and his wife Karen, that I haven't seen for 15 years. Came down from the state of New York. Peggy and Biff Dickerson came up from right there, came up from South Carolina. I'm hoping I don't miss anybody. Who, Jeff or Jimmy? With their kids. I'm not going to introduce all the kids' names. But I want to tell you the states that people have come here from. West Virginia, of course. Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, Indiana, Maryland, New York. I know I'm missing one, but the last state I can think of is the great state of Arizona, because that's where I come from. Can I mention a few other things, Dave? right now?
Podium's yours.
Good friend of mine, Bill Curry, is back here. Bill's founded the Cold River Group, which is a non-profit foundation whose major mission was to clean up the Cold River, and they have done a dynamite job, and I've been involved with them over 3 or 4 years. I actually had the honor of publishing a book Bill wrote called Cold River Rising. And tomorrow from 12 to 4, we're going to have a cookout and picnic down there. Bill's lending to us gratis, and I'll have I have a book up there that I would like everybody to sign. So I've got a guest book of who all's here, and if you're going to attend the picnic, just put CRG beside it with the number. It says the quantity of people. But Bill's done a wonderful job putting that together. Again, it's non-profit. He does it with donations and government funding, and you need to see that place. It is a Cadillac operation if I've ever seen it. He's on about 200 acres of land to preserve. He got a cabin donated to him. When I say a cabin, it's 2-story and it's more like a museum. Filled with big screen TVs and then memorabilia about the Cold River. Fantastic. He got Massey coal to dig in an 8-acre lake that they stocked with fish. Wheelchair access ramps for those that are in wheelchairs where they could lean their fishing pole over, and just the way it's laid out is beautiful. Stocked with fish. And it's dedicated to the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign Wars. He recently, over the last year, again, non-profit, purchased a kayak and kayak company in Rouse. Last weekend, he had over 300 people at the Tour de Cold, which is an annual event on the river. And it's just a fantastic setup. The kids will enjoy it. There's plenty of places to, play and run and whatever. And my cousins Jimmy and Jeff and I are going to be cooking. Do not harass the cooks. They're big boys. But it'll be simple fare: hamburgers, hot dogs, potato chips, etc. I hope everybody can attend. And it's not just a relative thing. My mother is going to try to make it. She just turned 90. Her health just wasn't too good today. My cousin from North Carolina is coming out to school to pick her up. Got her a birthday cake. Got all the grandchildren right now filling out signs for her so we can post all over the place down there. And we want to have her birthday party there several months ago, but it was during January, during that water shortage mess up, and wasn't timing to have her birthday party then. And when she does get there, she'll get that 12 to 4 is when the picnic is. We'll probably be cooking about 1 o'clock, and she'll arrive just a little bit later. I want everybody together that's down there to sing a happy birthday to her. Again, 90 years old. She's doing well. I think that's it for now. I'm going to talk a little bit later. I want to talk a little bit about Joe Walton.
I just want to thank you. It's been an honor to be here, to be a part of this, and fantastic to see so many people from all over the country come back as we honor and memorialize this bridge. So enjoy the evening. Look forward to hearing some stories throughout the evening, I'm sure, and we'll have some more time for later for people if they'd like to say something on his behalf and cherish memories. So God bless you all and enjoy your evening. Thank you.
I'm going to let you all eat. I'm going to head home. Thank you for having me here. And we appreciate it very much. And it's a great honor and a great honor for me to be with your family. Thank you very much.
Thank you.